Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Divorce Sistas. This is season 1, episode 8, and it is the mid-season finale. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video in support of me. You can leave your comments below, and if you're new over here, go on and subscribe and hit your notification buttons so that you can stay in the mix of everything that's going on over here. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, all right. So we begin where we left off. We know that Naomi showed this recording at her house of Myron talking about his devotion to the pastor and in love with him, and he's trying to make me jealous, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. So then, many people, even online, were saying that, oh, Pastor Jeff and Myron are together. But I was like, that don't sound right. He's talking like an obsessed person in love with Jeff, Pastor Jeff. That's what it was sounding to me. Because it's just like, I don't get it. But I still want to know who Pastor Jeff was whispering about. We still don't know. Anyways, so at this point, they just felt some of the ladies thought it was just so low and all that good stuff. They call in Pastor Jeff to look at this. And then they call Myron in. And Jeff is like, who are you talking to? Are you saying that we are in love with each other? Like, no. Who are you talking to? So Myron confessed that him and Pastor Jeff don't have anything going on. Pastor Jeff did too. He's quite embarrassed and ashamed. All that stuff, Pastor Jeff is not involved. So they established that, and it was over and all that. Naomi tried to accuse them of being gay, and they said, no, I'm never going to be with a man. So we fixed that. It's just how Myron was wording things that I didn't think that was true. Of course, it's so easy to believe the DL pastor thing because it's been widespread since the late 90s, early 2000s, where everything DL. Anyways, I don't think that Pastor Jeff wants anything to do with Naomi anymore, especially for this scrap. Of course, things could be very confusing when you're hearing all of that. But anyways, Rashida told Naomi, we're done. I did all I could to help you, and all that. I'm not doing that. And that's just that. Rashida leaves. Jeff leaves with her. He makes sure that he opens the door for her. I thought that was a good sign, so I guess possibly they are on the mend to making the right turn in their marriage. Cool. Myron was trying to call a car service. Bridget said, no, I'll take you back to the church and all that good stuff. I think Bridget did, talk with him. Myron thought, they're going to fire me, aren't they? She said, no, Pastor and Rashida, they are, and First Lady, they are good people. But you're going to have to be honest about what's going on. Are you gay? No. So now the wife, so what was her name, Denise? Now he got a wife. I understand we're just in the first season, but you're kind of just adding things that is just like, so you have a wife, and you're secretly harboring feelings for this man, which could happen. And we're going to get into that in a few minutes, but just like, okay. Now Denise is a wife that nobody knew about, that we didn't know about at least. And he's just touching the hand all affectionately, touching his leg affectionately. Remember that was like episode 3 or 4, so it's just like, okay. Out in open, that's odd to me. So Rashida and Jeff are in the car. They are talking about what are we going to do about this. We understand how this stuff happens from personal experience. I understand working behind the scenes of a pastor. I was in the same position as Myron was, as far as being what you would call, they call him an assistant, armor bearer. And a lot of things are said. I think that they said that there were a lot of rumors out there. I think, the lady said, it's been out there. There's been rumors that this was going on. Rashida in the car said, that's why I was watching. I've been telling you that this person is in love with you, and you couldn't see it. You were being a little bit naive about this. They didn't say that they were going to get rid of him, but, something has to happen. And then she starts making fun of Myron being in love with him and talking about booty stuff that straight people say, the nuances of being gay and all that stuff. So after that, what happened? Oh, back at the house of Naomi's house, Naomi gets served. She's being sued for $50 million for the damages to his now wife. That's a criminal case. You can't sue nobody that's not even she's not even coherent. Not that I know of. But you're suing them for the exact amount that was given to her in the divorce. Franklin, you don't care not one bit about your wife or anything to that nature. You are too busy trying to get back at this woman. Naomi goes to the hospital and is trying to antagonize Franklin to touch her. She brings black flowers for the wife. I said, that's some very audacious stuff to try to do. Lady, you are crazy. Why would you go up there? Why would you go, not return to the scene of the crime, but you know you did that to that lady. And I was cheering you on. But he said, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to do that. The nurse ended up kicking her out. She threw the flowers on those burnt wounds. I said, Lord. Oh. Okay, so let me move on. I'm like, Naomi, you are a mess and a half. What else? Outside of Naomi, Naomi, she goes to the bank and she brings Bolo. I can't not remember his name. I thought I heard them say Hakeem, but I can't remember his name right now. Takes them to the bank. She opens up her security deposit box, and she sees the money. And she wants it done as far as the pound away. He's wanting to back out of it, and she now flips the switch. And she knows everything about this dude. He's got a daughter and all that stuff. And basically, you can't get out of it. And she lets us know that it's not a coincidence that I chose you to be the person that I was going to be the dominatrix with. Naomi. So you and Franklin are some crazy folk. You are the Tasha and Ghost for this new generation. Y'all some dangerous people. So Bolo wasn't biting. And then Naomi kicks him out as usual. I'm sure he's going to bite eventually or be forced to do it, whatever. I don't think they're going to be having sex like that anymore unless he finds a way to one-up her in this whole situation. I don't know. I'm like, Lord, Naomi. Tiffany talks with Javon. And he's saying all these sweet nothings, and she's just Then he suggests, this is one of the dumbest things in the world, suggests that he and her go to Italy with Will in Geneva. And she's like, what? I'm supposed to be babysitting Anika. He's like, well, I'm sure Rashida could do it. Why don't we go? She's like, I don't know about that, but just trust me. We could do this as a way to get to know each other. Okay. Tiffany. Wake up. You can see something's going on. Why in the world of just knowing him for 2 days, he's wanting to take you to Italy? Go to Starbucks. How about that? Can y'all do that? Like, I guess I understand why you weren't trying to meet up with anyone. I don't know if you weren't just trusting yourself, but the first Negro that paid you attention. That is so foul. And all I gotta say is that Javon and Geneva are some awful people. Geneva doesn't care anything about the well-being of Tiffany because she's trying to hide everything that she's going on. But also, in turn, she's trying to treat Tiffany a certain way as if she knows what's going on. It's just, that's very messed up. And I don't like that whatsoever. So we go to William and Geneva's home. Geneva comes home and finds that Javon is there. And he's cooking. And he's usually using this analogy of the right temperature and all this stuff, and it's turning this girl on, this heifer on. Of course, she's like, what is he doing here? All that good stuff. But at the same time, she's loving that thrill, loving that he's there for real. William brings up that Javon and Tiffany are thinking about coming to Italy. And she's like, what? No, she's going to be watching Anika. I knew she was going to say that. But no, I think it would be good for us as adults to finally have an adult trip. Geneva isn't really answering and all that. They want to answer from her. And the next thing you know, Anika screams out. She was on the swing and somehow got hurt. And she's got blood someplace, I think on her head or whatever. They take her to the hospital, but before we get there, we got Tiffany talking with Rashida. And was telling her, Devon just asked me to go to Italy. And Rashida was like, I think you really need to slow down. She was like, well, he said that this was a way for us to get to know each other, Without Rashida, I think that Rashida's been a little bit awful too. I don't care if you want to get in the mix or not. Is Tiffany your friend or not? Or you think that there is some type of politics and loyalty in this whole situation? No, it's not your business, but you know what's going on. And nobody will tell this girl anything. And I think that is just crazy. So you can tell that Tiffany's lost in the sauce and she didn't even get the D. That is some crazy work, in my opinion. Oh my God. Myron and Jeff, they meet. Are you in love with me? No, it's not like that. Are you gay? No, it's not like that. Who were you talking to on the phone? Was it a woman or a man? A man. Is it somebody at the church? Yes. I don't think he even gave it away yet. But you don't know who is plotting and scheming against the pastor. So, in my opinion, are you a good assistant, Myron? No. And I think you should be fired. Because now he's saying that this person got it in your head that possibly you're in love with the pastor and all that good stuff. They could be scheming or at least helping you to try to trap pastor in a trap. So do I think you're being a good assistant? No. You're too busy running your mouth about something that's not even true. That's not cool. So Pastor Jeff said, is it going to be a problem for you to be my assistant? He said, oh, you're not firing me? He says, I'm trying to make provisions just to see if we could still have you on staff. He said it's not going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So we head back to Pastor Jeff and Lady Rashida's home. And the child, I was going to call him Tyrell, but that's who he is on Beyond the Gates. I forgot his name here. He's rummaging through some of their personal things in their bedroom. And she wants to know what's going on. He says, I just needed a tie for something. I was trying to get a tie from Dad. And she said, let me see what's in your hand. And it's money. And she said, well, why do you need this money? Your father just gave you some money. He said, well, I'm going to the movies with my friends. What friends? It's friends that you don't know. She says, are you on drugs? And he says, what do you mean by that? No, I'm not on drugs. Well, I'm gonna need you to pee in this cup. Are you for real? And she's like, yes, I need you to pee in this cup. You can see that Rashida's trying to be the tough parent in this whole situation and trying to get him to respect her and all that stuff. It ain't working. What Rashida was saying in the beginning to Jeff about his son, it's really true. She's trying to raise a man. Yeah, like Keisha Cole, but not in that same way. It's just like, yeah, Pastor Jeff, you're going to have to step in. He don't respect y'all, but definitely don't respect his mama in that way. She said, give me that money. She's taking the money and all that, and then there's a little struggle. Immediately, the son is like, I'm sorry. And he gets out the room. You can tell that she's affected, and it was a trigger for her. I believe it's from the rape that she said, that gang rape that she got, The daughter sees what is happening and she asks Mom, are you okay? Yeah. I wish the daughter had just came in, even if Rashida didn't want to say nothing to her, and just held her right then and there. But you can tell that she was very affected by this. And it also looks like Rashida has not really dealt with it. As a lot of victims do not for real. And then if I could just take it even further, Black people don't. So from there, we go to the hospital. Javon, the nanny, and of course William and Geneva are there and they're waiting. Geneva lashes out at the nanny, saying that you should have been more careful. You know that she's a preemie. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. But William's like trying to be all understanding. Look, she's a child. That stuff happens and whatever. Geneva's not having it and just asks for the nanny to leave. So then Tiffany comes up there and she's like, what are you doing here? You know, Javon called me, and Javon says that I asked her to come up here. And Tiffany's just wanting to know how everything's going, and Geneva doesn't want to tell her anything and all that. She'll be fine, and I just need you guys to leave. And all I want is family up here. And Tiffany's like, we are family, Geneva. What is this? Next thing you know, the doctor comes out and says that the child gonna need a blood transfusion. And she said, you know, to Geneva, come on and let's do this, da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, no, what are you trying to say, da-da-da-da-da? Why don't you just, what are you talking about? Well, your daughter's blood type is AB. And William said, well, my blood type is O. And I'm a professor. So there's no way possible that... William, you done solved the puzzle and it's still not clicking. So basically, we know that Anika is Javon's without knowing it officially. Help us now. Yeah, so that's where we're at with the whole situation. And I don't know when the second half is coming out for Divorced Sisters, but this is the finale and all that. I still want to know who Pastor Jeff was whispering with. That's the only thing that needs to be solved. We see that Myron has this crush on his pastor. So, anyways, that's all I have. Please leave your comments below and tell me what you thought. Naomi's crazy. I don't blame anyone that wants to walk away. She wants to stay in this hurt and pain and wants to hurt others. That's the kicker right there. If she wasn't trying to hurt others, I mean people that are trying to help her, that I would be more on her side, but nah. And Geneva, whatever. That's all I have. Like this video. You can also subscribe. And again, leave your comments. And until the next video, peace.